And to the point. That's my credo.
And how long will it take before you tell me what a saltpeter pit is?
A saltpeter pit is a pit in which saltpeter is formed.
This has something to do with that alchemy of yours, eh? I don't know much about that stuff.
Nitra is saltpeter. White crystals similar to salt.
And what needs salting here in the mill? Or is it supposed to be some peculiar crazal wedding gift for a young semi?
Nothing of the sort. The Kabbalistic doctrine speaks of saltpeter as a vessel for the inexhaustible essence of life. Those white crystals are said to contain the very essence of being. That's precisely what we need to give life to our golem. Thanks to the ingredients from Hermes Trismegistos, his feet will never get tired and his fists will have the power to smash rocks. But saltpeter is the most important thing. Saltpeter will be the golem's heart.
So you're serious about this golem? And are you certain it'll work out?
Certainly. Otherwise, I wouldn't even try.
How much saltpeter will it take to bring to life such a big creature?
A lot. That's why I want you to find me a decent saltpeter pit. Do you understand?
I was hoping I'd learn something useful from you. But instead, you're making me wander around the countryside looking for some pit.
Well, you never know when an experience like that might come in handy.
All right then. I'll look around for that saltpeter pit of yours. I just hope you know where to look. That you can point me in the right direction. And also that you'll get me into that wedding as a reward.
Yes, yes, and yes. Bonnie has a lead. She's a damned handy girl to have around. She can do anything you ask of her. But for you, the most important thing is that she knows how to look for niter, or saltpeter if you prefer.
So this Bonnie is some kind of witch who's in on this golem stuff.
Bonnie is someone I trust without question, and you should too. Not only will she teach you how to find saltpeter, but also how to differentiate it from common salt. The main difference is it has kind of cooling taste.
Hold your horses. You want me to taste that nasty stuff?
If you don't taste it, you could confuse it with some nasty rot. You don't want that.
Damn right.
Don't be such a lily-liver, Henry. If Bonnie can taste saltpeter, so can you. She'll tell you the rest herself. You'll find her in the lair. That's a secret storage space I have here just by the pond. Only my best people can get in.
How can I get to this lair?
There's a bridge over the mill stream towards the southwest. Take the path to the left, just behind it along the pond. From that path, you turn right, uphill, between the rocks, and you'll find yourself right in front of the lair. You can't miss it. Oh, and so I don't forget. You could pick some herbs along the way to see Bonnie. It would make her very happy. She's just been through some tough times. Her dog died, and on top of that, she has to spend time with that blabbermouth, Zinnik. On the other hand, Zinnik might be holding his tongue for a while after his encounter with the Troskowitz stocks.
If Bonnie spends time with Zinnik, she may want some spirits rather than herbs.
Bonnie? Never. Being a decent Christian, she avoids alcohol like the plague. Run along, so you're back as soon as possible.
To the lair.
Greetings.
God be with you.
What was that noise? Woodcutters?
God be with you.
I'm Henry, Miller Crazel's new apprentice. He sent me to search for a niter pit and said you might be able to help me with that.
Of course I will. I'm Bonnie. Nice to meet you.
Bonnie? It's not a name I hear often.
It's not the name I was baptized with. In our craft, it ain't a good idea to tell people your real name. That's why we use nicknames. What should we call you?
The Wolf of Skalitz.
Well, that's not very creative. You know what? I'll come up with a nickname for you myself when I get to know you better. Did you bring me something from the mill?
Actually, Crazel said you'd appreciate some herbs.
He's right there. Do you have some for me?
Well, I've got something here.
My word, that's exactly what I need. The ingredients for the magic ritual.
What kind of magic ritual?
The kind where Zenek finally gets some sense into his head and stops making stupid beginner's mistakes. Just so you know, that mess with the author of Hermes Trismegistos would never have happened to me. Not me. While we're on the subject of rituals, did Crazel tell you about the golem?
He did.
And what do you think of it?
I'm curious to see what a golem made of flour will look like. I'm mostly curious to see if Crazel will really be able to breathe life into it with the help of saltpeter.
I'm more worried that as soon as it comes to life, it'll slay us all with one blow. So, if by some chance it looks like something's going wrong, you won't see my heels for dust. And I suggest you do the same. But that's enough of that. We're not going to stand here talking about flower golems when we've barely just met. I'd like to chat with you too, Henry. Get to know you a bit. But if you're in a hurry to find Crazel's saltpeter, I won't keep you.
No. I have plenty of time. But where to start?
You know what? I'll start. When they caught Zenek in Troskowitz, I was scared out of my mind that they'd catch me and clap me in the stocks. I had to hide out here for a while, so I haven't had anyone to talk to. Life in the lair isn't all fun and games. Zenek and all the other mill knuckleheads were never worth much as company. So I'm glad the Millers finally found a normal hand for once. You've got a beautiful dog. What's his name?
Mutt.
What a cute fella. How did you find each other?
Among the wolves. Not a word of a lie. That is, I lost him and then found him again in a wolf pack.
Well, that's what I call an interesting past. I used to have a dog, but I don't anymore.
He died.
He started getting these lumps all over his body. He stopped eating. Just slept all the time. And then, well, what's done is done. And what about you? What kind of family are you from? Also, thieves?
I found myself following the path of the knight. My only brother now is my sword.
Oh, aye. Men these days solve all their problems in armor on the field, gouging each other's eyes out and hacking off each other's limbs. Where are the good old days when everything could be solved with a simple dagger stab or a nice strong cup of hemlock? Jesus, I sound like an old crone now, eh? And you know who else pines for the good old days? Crazel. What do you think of the old miller, anyway?
I don't know what to say to that. I still don't know him all that well.
I understand. Best not to bite the hand that feeds you for no good reason. Thanks for talking to me. It really is good to have someone to pour my heart out to. But now, about that saltpeter. Before you came, and before Zenek fucked up with the manuscript, we collected saltpeter all over the place, mainly in sties. It has to be scraped from the walls. Horrible work, time-consuming and annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. We also looked in a few chests, just in case. You know. Anyhow, now all the sties in the region are scraped clean and we're sitting pretty on a nice barrel of saltpeter.
Barrel is quite a lot.
For the whole Trotsky region, aye. Unfortunately, Krazel said we need at least 6 times as much.
6 times? Will one saltpeter pit be enough?
I reckon so. There should be as much as Krazel needs for his masterwork. If you're looking for it, you ought to know how saltpeter forms. Do you have any idea?
No, I don't. And Krazel, of course, didn't tell me shit.
Don't forget that saltpeter crystals are formed in places where something is rotting. It can be shit or carcasses. Well, a saltpeter pit is actually nothing more than a mass grave. The best natural saltpeter maker.
Krazel said saltpeter is a vessel for life energy. I get it that it's left over from dead bodies, but how do you get it from shit?
God's mysterious ways. You know how it is.
And he also wanted me to taste it. That's nonsense though, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it isn't. Otherwise, you won't know if it's saltpeter or some other shit. It feels kind of cold on the tongue.
Jesus. And you know where to look for such a pit full of carcasses, do you?
Not exactly, but I have an idea. Times are evil and there's plenty of corpses. A person who's digging holes and throwing dead bodies into them and doesn't even know he's got a saltpeter mine.
The local gravedigger?
Exactly. And the one we have here in the region is also the knacker.
Well, I haven't met him yet. Where can I find him?
The cemetery is beyond Troskovitz, towards the Apollonia rocks.
So I'm in for a walk to the cemetery.
Seems like it. Too bad you couldn't have walked around the county with us before. It was fun, and pretty useful experience. I learned a lot during that time, and I won't keep it to myself. I'd be happy to teach you something, if you want.
I'll keep that in mind.
That old gravedigger will be suspicious, so I'd bring him some kind of offering. He's always dragging those carcasses, so I'm sure he'd appreciate a slab of fresh meat from Troskovitz butcher.
Good idea.
He lives a short way from the cemetery, so at least the meat won't go bad on the way. Lots of luck, the Wolf of Skalitz.
Why do you work for the miller?
Because he pays well, and don't care how much coin I make on the side.
You mean by stealing?
And he doesn't ask any stupid questions.
What did you do before?
I got by any way I could. Believe it or not, I started in a convent.
You? A nun? Well, why not? I was in the cloisters myself for a while.
Oh well, different people have different fates. But we all ended up here anyway, in the armpit of the world.
What do you think about Krazel?
You're another one of those that don't know if they should love him or hate him, eh? Krazel is his own man. Once you learn to get along with him, you can't help but admire him a bit. But sometimes, he's unbearable as soon as he opens his mouth.
What do you know about the Troskovitz gravedigger?
He's a pretty tough old bird. He follows the rule, I'll treat you the way you treat me. And he appreciates when a fella's direct and open. But I probably wouldn't tell him everything about us.
So, Bonnie, the most honest girl I know, sent me. I'd like to see some dead animals as models for painting a church fresco. A scene from the apocalypse.
That might be a bit much, but you learn fast.
How was the saltpeter collection and tasting again? Sounds pretty disgusting.
It wasn't so bad. Xena kept whining about it, but being a saltpeter collector, it has its benefits. When you go and clean someone's sty, they don't pay much attention to you and leave their purses and chests unattended. We made a pretty decent amount on the side.
What, by stealing?
Confiscating property for the greater glory of God. I hate the term stealing.
Just like Krazel. What is this lair place?
Krazel built a store so all them honest, curious people in the mill, the likes of Hensel, wouldn't have to worry their little heads about what we're doing here.
You mean behind that boarded-up door in the cliff?
We're definitely not doing anything there right now. Because of the mess in there. I told Xena to clean it up. I think he wants to see if the place will get so rotten that saltpeter will bloom on the walls.
Tell me something more about Zinek.
He's Andy, that's for sure. But also a bit of a fool. To be honest, I don't care for Krazel's horseshit most of the time either. I do this job because it's fun. Unlike Zinek. He does everything for his own good, doesn't give a damn about any greater cause or other people. Actually, he really pisses me off with his attitude. And he entertains himself by coming up with the stupidest nicknames for me. Dunga, for instance. What kind of a bloody awful name is Dunga?
Oh, lovely. And what does he call himself?
Scruffy. Or Jan, Nicholas, Franz, Peter, Jakub. The most bland, everyday names. He tries to be careful, but then he opens his big mouth and fucks it all up, just like in Troskowitz.
What can I do for you?
What do you have for sale?
Thank you, and a good day to you, friend.
Greetings, my friend.
I'm Henry. And you must be the local gravedigger, right?
Ignatius, master of the sod, at your service. Looking for a final resting place, are you? Or do you need to bury a dead goat?
Now, I'm more interested in the grave digging profession as a whole.
Ah, once you try it, you'll never want to do nothing else till the day you die.
You got a big cemetery here. Pretty nice, too.
Ain't it? But being the gravedigger, I'll never have a place of my own here. They'll throw me by the wall like a dog and bury me without ceremony. But when I'm dead, I won't care. If it was up to me, I'd even bury the suicides in hallowed ground. We're all equal before death and the Lord. This game of better and worse places of final rest don't count for nothing.
Being a gravedigger must be a lonely job, eh? What are your duties?
Funny a young lad like you is so interested in grave digging. Not something you see every day.
Well, I'm only asking. No real reason.
That figures. Youngsters these days wouldn't know hard work if it bit 'em on the arse. It's no wonder I can't find any help.
Are you offering me a job?
No. I'm giving you a warning. You ain't cut out for this trade.
And how do you know that?
You've got that look. I can spot it a mile away.
Could you be more specific?
You just aren't cut out for it, and that's that. A gravedigger needs passion. A sense of duty ain't enough. It's a service, a labour of love, and the meaning of life all in one, lad.
I'm not from these parts, and I've seen a few conciliation crosses around here. What do they mean?
The same as where you come from, I reckon. They mark spots where the sins of man came to be regretted later.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
Aye, like when a fella buries an axe in someone's head over something stupid and then comes to regret it. Or if the law sees to it that he regrets it. The sinner then has to erect a conciliation cross to mark the site of his evil deed.
Where does he get the cross from?
Where do you think? From me.
You're in charge of that too? Stone cutting?
I know how to cut a cross out of stone. And what of it? With the soft sandstone around here, it's child's play.
So they're all your work?
I wish. I've only sold 2 or 3 recently. Most of these here are right old. You might find a few stories about them in the village chronicle what's kept at the rat house. All I know is a young fellow once jumped off the cliffs near Takoff, and folks say the place is cursed.
Do you know any more stories?
Aye, I do, but I'm not telling you any. I'm not an old fishwife.
What's the story with the dead people?
The story? They're dead. What more is there to tell?
But you said there's been a lot of people dying around here recently, right?
Well, it ain't usual for people to get off by the cartload out here in the sticks, if you ask me. What do you reckon?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it that way.
That might be the reason then, hey?
What?
Look, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying there's a lot of people dying. If things keep up like this, I'll be out of work in no time. There'll be no one left to bury.
Have you been a gravedigger your whole life? Have you ever thought of changing your trade?
I did think about it once, if I'm honest. I wanted to be a knacker in Yitchin, but some fool with friends in high places got the job, though he can't even tell a shovel from a spade. That really pissed me off, so I said, fuck it. Why would I want to dig graves for people who don't appreciate my craft?
So you've always been here otherwise?
And what of it? Do you think I get bored here? Not recently, I don't. But I think I told you that already.
Unfortunately, I had to bury both my parents recently.
My condolences, lad.
Thank you. I just don't know if it was done right.
Did you witness their deaths?
Unfortunately, they were killed in front of my eyes.
Oh, I understand that's never easy. But if you closed their eyes and buried them in consecrated ground, you've nothing to worry about.
I dug their grave next to our smithy. We didn't have a church in our village.
Well, that can't be avoided sometimes. Don't let it bother you. As long as you picked the spot with good intentions, that's all that matters. I'm certain their souls went straight to heaven. You needn't worry. You did everything right, lad.
But seriously, Ignatius, tell me about yourself.
Gravedigger, knacker, snorter's constant companion, and lover of colourful sunsets, all in one man.
You've nearly got more titles than the Emperor himself.
Well, I have been doing it for almost 40 years now. The bailiff pays me well, in coin and sometimes in goods.
Sounds appealing.
Not all that glitters is gold, lad. A gravedigger's got it hard, and so does a knacker. I pick up dead animals on the side of the road. That's the knacker's job. You could say, I have a knack for it. That's why people say I'm unclean. If I had children, they wouldn't be allowed to marry anyone besides an executioner or a gravedigger. It's so ingrained in folk. A fella takes care of things they wouldn't want to handle themselves, and this is how they repay him. Can't even go to the tavern no more.
Ignatius, I'm going to need your help.
Of course. How many are there? Where do you want to bury them? Shall we grind the teeth up, or do you want to take them away in your purse?
None of that. I have a different, slightly unusual request. Bonnie from Lower Semine sent me. We're looking for a saltpeter pit.
From Lower Semine? What pit?
A saltpeter pit.
I ain't never heard of nothing like that. What's it supposed to be? A pit to hell?
Yeah, something like that. At night, you hear the cries of tormented souls and catch the whiff of sulphur.
Well, that I can't help you with.
Not to worry. It's actually just a hole with some rotting carcasses in it. These white crystals form in it. And that's exactly what we're after.
You should have said you're looking for the pit I throw carcasses into. What's all this about Salty Peter? I'm going to go there anyway, so I'll take you there.
Really? That was easier than I thought.
Not even a chicken scratches in the dirt without hope of reward, though. You'll help me with something first. I have some collections from some Slatigo farmsteads, and I'd be a fool if I didn't use a helping hand. At least one day I can take it a bit easy.
You want me to help you with your grave-digging business?
Why not? You look like a strong fella. You'll be a good helper.
I have a better idea. You tell me where I can find that pit, and I'll give you a nice piece of fresh meat for it.
I won't say no to that. Show me what you have. Oh, aye, fresh meat. What a feast that'll make. Now, listen closely. That pit of yours lies at the end of a long journey that we'll take together on my wagon.
So you got meat out of me for nothing?
When I see how much you lot in Lower Semine are interested in it, I'm not just going to hand it to you on a plate. But thanks for the meat, And don't worry about a thing. Grave digging is a job like any other. Sooner or later, everyone needs our services. And if it wasn't for us knackers, folk would have to deal with their animal carcasses themselves.
Of course, I understand. I'm just a little worried about what people will say about me when they see me with you. I wouldn't like to lose the honour I've earned as squire to a nobleman.
Don't worry about what people say. They'll only strip you of your honour if you let them. So what then? Shall we take a nice little ride with my boys Snorter and Dragonfly here? Nice and early, at daybreak.
Let's get this over with then.
Didn't you understand me? We ain't going nowhere now. Like I said, be here at daybreak. That's between night and day. Do you understand?
Is there some place I can wait for morning to come?
Of course, if you've got nothing better to do, you can sit here with me. If you know how to read, I have a book hidden in the outhouse I got of a dead fella. That'll make the time go faster. In fact, you can keep it. All I can do is admire all them fancy squiggles in it anyway.
And where can I sleep?
At the inn in Truskowitz. Get a good breakfast there too. You'll need it to be at full strength. Here's a little something so you know I take care of my helpers. See you in the morning. Be careful. It's not safe here.
I don't know if I'm completely ready for this, but let's get going.
The dew is still on the leaves. The roads are clear. Hop on the wagon and Snorter and Dragonfly here will take care of us. Did I bring that stuff for Visor? Meat? Pain? Pizza? Got it all. Good. Excuse me. Come on then, get a move on. We've got a long journey ahead of us, so get yourself comfortable so your arse won't hurt. So, you say you're from Lower Samine, eh?
Well, you could say that. I help the miller with whatever I can. I've got a place to sleep there. Soon I'll be able to call the miller uncle.
I remember Crazel when he was still a wee lad. Even then he was a great big smart-ass. When I buried his parents, he was traipsing somewhere through the world. Maybe you heard what they say about Lower Samine round these parts. Crazel don't sell short measure, not that. He looks out for his reputation, but his helpers have been seen often in the villages after dark, looking fishy. Or during the day, in the pillories. Don't that Bonnie of yours belong to that gang too?
Unfortunately, she does. Crazel ordered Bonnie and her accomplice Zinnek to scrape saltpeter off the walls of the sties. And when they had a chance to loiter about in the yards here in the region, well, they made good use of the opportunity to line their purses.
Ay, ay, ay. What have I gotten myself into in my twilight years? Lower Samine's a thorn in the side for a lot of folk. Some on account of the competition. Some is just rubbed up the wrong way by that Crazel. Either way, all they need's the slightest excuse to grab their pitchforks. Go and grab the miller and shove his face right in his own millstone. Yeah! Yeah! Whoa, boys, whoa! Oh, come on! Are you deaf? Oh, they're acting stubborn again. Now listen, Henry. Here on the left side, you'll see the ruins of a cottage that's been abandoned for a few years.
That's mysterious. What treasures might be hidden there?
You'll soon see. I have a trap set inside the cottage. I wanted to lure a wolf into it, but that didn't work out. There's a deer rotting there unnecessarily. So hop in there and bring it to the wagon. Finally. At least we're not blocking the road too much.
Oh, Jesus, what a stench. Better quickly throw it in a sack and take it back to the wagon.
This fella's with him for
Get
sure.
over here!
Look!
Now!
Hold your horses. What's the big hurry, eh?
Now, I say!
What's going on, Ignatius?
Ah, I'm trying to explain to these fellas we've got nothing to do with no thieving around here. They should go to Lower Samine to complain.
2 stinking pieces of shit was sneaking around our sties and cellars and lining their purses with silver too while they was at it. Some scruffy and dunger. You must be scruffy, eh?
I'm Henry, and those, names mean nothing to me.
Like I said, if it's rotten carrion they're after, they should have come to me. A passion for knacking is the only thing we have in common.
Is that so? So prove it then.
Ignatius is telling the truth. There are all sorts of types causing trouble in these parts. Not just from Lower Samine. Ignatius and I thank you for taking on the job of guarding the roads, making sure that honest, if somewhat grubby tradesmen stay safe.
Aye, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So, thanks.
Really good work, lad. Well, time waits for no man. Let's all carry on with our duties, eh?
All right, listen. We'll be going then. But if you happen to run into them 2 thieves, you tell us right away. Got it?
Of course.
You can count on it.
Glad to hear it. Let's go, fellas. Maybe... Did I get this right?
What's next? Are we going?
Not much left for us to do here, eh?
Hopefully our luck will hold out, and we'll only be breaking the limbs of carcasses today. The next farm's just up ahead. Hop on, and let's go. Here we come, Snorter. Don't worry. That was just a kind of little favor for me. Now we'll help the locals here in Jdar with their carcasses.
So far, I've just carried sacks. I already did that for the miller.
Yesterday, the good wife from that farm came and told me both their pigs died. So we'll scoop them up and haul them off. I mean, you'll scoop them up and haul them to my cart. She says it was a curse. There was a flash of lightning, the pigs started trembling, squealing and puking, and then keeled over and dropped dead.
All right, that's what you get. People sin here in their seclusion, thinking they're out of sight of our Lord.
It ain't my first day doing this job, so I could see right off them pigs had been poisoned. The good wife swore them pigs were happy as, well, pigs in shit. She said they even let them go to a nearby stream to have a wallow. It flows here through the forest on the right. Since we're here, you ought to go and take a look around there. Check how clear that spring really is.
All right, I'll see what's going on there.
And I'm going to enjoy having a helper. At least for one day. Maybe I'll roll around in the grass here with Snorter and Dragonfly. Yeah! Yeah!
I apologize.
Yeah. Ugh, and another.
I'll probably get something from the bailiff for hauling.
Well, I wish you and your helper lots of luck today. May God bless you.
You too.
Those pigs came here to drink. Where to now? I can smell something upstream.
What? Come on! Damn! He doesn't heed me at all. That dog just does what he wants, and not what I want him to do.
Ah, here it is. Wolves must have killed them. It didn't even eat them up. I'll go and tell Ignatius.
It really wasn't a curse. There are rotting carcasses in the water upstream from the watering spot. No wonder the pigs caught some disease.
Well, what do you know? I was right. I'll give you a hand. It'd take you all night on your own. Excuse me.
Yeah. Ugh, and another.
money out the window. Bloody hell.
What's next? Are we going?
I took care of the carcasses. We can drive on.
Nice work. There's even a bit of meat left for me.
Yeah, you'd eat that. They've been lying there God knows how long.
But nicely in the cold. There's nothing wrong with it. Anyway, you won't be eating it, so don't worry about it. Let's keep going. Right. Come on then, get a move on. So far it ain't that bad, eh? You don't have to take down no hanged man or bury an unbaptized child.
Well, ever since I started working for the miller, all I did was carry sacks. The sack makers here in the region must live like kings. Of course it could be a lot worse.
I like having to carry sacks full of thistles. Now listen to me closely. You won't be carrying anything at the next farmstead. Instead, you'll have to make one carcass there. See, the work of a knacker ain't just about clearing away dead animals. Now and then you've got to put down some creature, so it don't suffer. Or, like today, to put it down so everyone around it don't have to suffer. In this case, we're talking about a dog.
Well, what can I do? But I doubt I'll feel good about it.
That cur belongs to the greengrocer, Vizar. I've heard they're both pretty fierce. Don't draw too much attention to yourself at the farmstead. I'll give you some Aesop potion to drink first, and some meat and bane. Soak the meat with the poison and throw it to the dog. He'll probably be locked in a pen somewhere. As soon as it's done, we'll disappear before anyone notices anything. I got paid well for it from the neighbors, so don't fuck it up for me. Lazy bones.
Oh, sucker! The dog isn't here. The door's open. Where did he run off to? Barking. It's coming from over there.
Come here, cuddly. What are you doing here, Henry?
Bonnie? What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
First, tell me what you're doing here. And how come you're with that beast?
He's no beast. I came here to save him.
You mean steal him?
For him, it'll be a redemption from that horse and master of his. I'll take care of him, in place of my poor dead sniffer.
Bonnie, The gravedigger sent me to kill the dog. He's been paid to do it by the people whose livestock that beast killed. It's the last thing I need to do before he shows me the pit.
It's not the animal's fault. When Zenek and I were here last, I saw how old Lysarik treats him. He doesn't give him food, he abuses him. With a master like that, he won't last long. You wouldn't kill a dumb creature just because its master is a sick horseman, would you?
Well, you don't have to convince me. Ever since the gravedigger told me to do it, I've been trying to figure out how to save that dog. If you want to take him, I won't stop you.
You're a much better Christian than I thought you were. I'll take him to the lair. We'll meet there.
Hurry off now, before someone sees us together.
Come on now, boy. You'll like it in the lair.
At least take a bath before you go out.
Aye. I'll head to the bathhouse right away.
Christ!
Pardon me.
Jesus,
Get out of here,
dare
Mutt.
piss on
Hold that beast to
something.
heel.
You'd better call back that dog. Learn how to behave, you beast.
Get out of here, Mutt. No one wants to hear you barking.
It's taken care of.
Taken care of? What do you mean?
I set the dog free. He didn't deserve to die.
For fuck's sake, didn't deserve to die? We were supposed to get rid of him, because that's just what he deserves.
Bonnie from the mill came and took the dog before we got to him.
Well, fuck me. How much more is that girl going to steal before she has enough?
Oh, she'll take better care of him than Baysar did. All he needs is to be fed properly, and he won't be dangerous anymore.
I surely fucking hope not. Because if he runs off and ravages something or someone again, then we didn't help at all. Let's go before we start looking suspicious.
So this is it. This is the pit.
Slowly, boy, slowly. Have a bit of respect. Death always deserves respect, whether it's people or animals.
But there's hardly 3 heaps here. Is this really it? Are you yanking my pizzle again?
Of course not. True, it used to be one big pit. But then I found out when you pile up carcasses in smaller pits and throw some wet hay between them, it all rots better. And the better it rots, the more nitra you'll have. Are you going to take some right away?
I won't. The miller will probably send some people here.
Well, they'd better not dig it all up. That'd disturb the natural balance, see? And soon they'll find out there's no place to find saltpeter.
Well, I reckon I'm delaying the inevitable. I'll still have to taste it.
You're going to taste it?
It's the only way I can be certain it really is saltpeter.
God's nails. And they say I'm disgusting. Wait a moment. I've got a reward for you. Just so's you don't think old Ignatius and his even older nags is ungrateful riffraff. Take it as a thanks for your help. Maybe you'll take over my trade one day when I'm pushing up daisies myself.
Who knows? Maybe that'll really be my fate. I'll live at the cemetery, build piles of carcasses, and eat bread with saltpeter.
Here's something that'll definitely come in handy if you ever need to go through all this again. Either with me or somewhere else.
Thanks.
Taste it then. Get to it. This I have got to see. You didn't have to make such a feast of it.
Look at me. I'm a lord's messenger to a taster of cadavers. Cold and salty. This must be it.
I found the place where we can harvest saltpeter. You just head out of Troskovitz towards Apollonia, carry on alongside the road, then head off it at the right spot. Only it's not a pit, it's 3 piles of earth. The gravedigger Ignatius drove me there himself.
And is it the real stuff? Did you taste it?
Yeah. And I hope I never have to do that again. Ugh. I think the experience has changed me forever.
Oh, come on. You whine more than Zinnik. It's just commonplace salt. I was hoping it'd be closer, to go all the way to Apollonia. If I sent 2 wagons, that should be enough.
What should I do?
That means I could mix a barrel and a half.
Crazel, focus. What else do you need from me?
Oh, sorry. What were you asking? About a reward? It's right here.
Thanks. How's it going with the golem?
Well, the whole thing is really appealing to a scholar of my field of interest and important for humanity. But, sir...